Okay, hey everyone. I hope you enjoyed the panel. So Mark had to go to the toilet, so I'm taking over for him now. And but I'm happy to introduce Andre Duis, as we just now established, because this is not the original Dutch, where it's from originally, not the Dutch pronunciation, but the German one, which is Duis. So now that we get that out of the way, so Andre is a domain owner at METRONOM company in Düsseldorf in Germany. And in this role, he is responsible for developer experience, technical architecture, and SRE. So that sounds super interesting. So hopefully you'll be talking a little bit about that in your talk that's coming up.
Yeah.
Are you ready to go?
Yeah, ready to go.
Awesome.
I will not talk about my role, but I have a lot of other stuff to show.
All right, great.
Okay, so I want to talk a bit about the approach that we took to become a high-performing engineering organization. And I have to take off the crown that is disturbing me. So my name is Andre Duis. I'm domain owner at METRONOM. METRONOM is a subsidiary of Metro, and it's basically a tech company for Metro, and Metro is a wholesale company that is supporting restaurants, catering firms, hotels, and traders. And yeah, that's about that. So about a year ago, we restructured our organization, and we adopted a metrics organization, and we formed our engineering unit, like most companies do and most modern companies have. So we all engineers report into engineering managers, and our engineering managers report into the engineering director, and product owners report into the product organization. And product owners and engineers and UX people, agile masters, and so on form a product team. So when we formed this engineering organization, we asked ourselves, okay, what is our contribution to the success of our company? What can we do as engineering organization? Obviously, we are not responsible for making the product decisions. Our engineers and we are also included and should understand the products and also the demand of the users, but it's not our focus. So we understood our part that we can provide is we can have speed of delivery, and also on the other hand, stability and quality of our systems. So we want to be on this top right corner on this chart here. And we did a lot of research on how we could achieve that and how we can do that. We have a lot of teams. We have about 130 teams, and that's quite difficult. So we found the Accelerate State of DevOps report, which probably most of you know from the DORA Research Center. Let me quickly explain what that is. They sent out a survey to thousands of professionals, and they try to correlate company success to engineering metrics and engineering practices. And one very interesting chart in this report, you can also find it there, is this one. So you have 4 metrics: deployment frequency. So how often do you deploy your primary application, they say, to production. Lead time for changes: how long does it take until your code gets into production? Time to restore service: how fast are you to detect an issue and restore your service? And change failure rate: so how often does a change in your production system end in a degradation of your service or interruption of service? And for each of those, they have categories. So it's basically a benchmark. So in deployment frequency, you are in the elite group when you can deploy on demand, means multiple times per day. And in the low category, you are when you are deploying between once per month and once every 6 months. And yeah, time to restore service basically is less than an hour, and then you're in the elite group, and you are in low when it takes you between 1 week and a month. And for example, change failure rate: so if less than 15% of your changes end in degradation or interruption of service, then you are in the elite category, and so on. And so we said, oh, this is a really good approach. And our assumption was, when all our teams, all of these 130 teams, are in this high or elite level of this benchmark, we are a high-performing engineering organization. So quite simple. And then we started to develop a tool, a framework, which is called OMA. OMA means observe, measure, analyze, and we have this little mascot of a grandma. German word is Oma, as well. And Grandma is helping our development teams with insights into their development process. And this is how it looks like. So we have on the very top, we have the team score. You can see in which category this specific team here is. Right now they are in the medium score. And then we have basically copied this chart from the report and made it executable in, here Grafana and Prometheus. This is our tech stack. And we have the metrics that you saw before: deployment frequency, lead time for changes, mean time to recover. And here we have mean time to failure, because initially it was too hard for us to measure the change failure rate, but we are adopting that now. This team here is in deployment frequency in the medium category, because they deploy 0.7 times per day. So you can see here the orange square that shows in which category the team is. And for example, in mean time to recover, it is in the low category. So it took them 5.2 hours to recover an issue, which is quite long. And and we're now moving to the home page. So this is what our teams see. Each team has their own space, and this space is really a private space. No manager, nobody else can enter this space and the data except for the team. And luckily, this team gave me access, so I can show this to you. Here again, you have the team score and you have the development metrics, but on the very right side, you see recommendations. So we are giving the team recommendations on how to improve on that data. On this level, it's still a bit generic. So you see that average deployment frequency here is for configured project is 21 times per month, and it should be better. And then you can dive deeper into the topics. And here you can actually also click on these development metrics or operational metrics and can dive deeper into the topics. Let's go into the operational metrics. Operational metrics, here on top, you have mean time to recover and mean time to failure again. On the bottom left, you have operational efficiency metrics like CPU utilization and RAM utilization, also something that teams that understand their system well have under control. And on the right side, you see our approach towards error budgeting. We have two approaches. Basically, we allow teams to set up manual service level objectives, and also we have automatic service level objectives, which is not optimal, but is a start to in that journey. And we are creating these automatic service level objectives based on system components. We are usually building smaller microservices, and these are the automatic SLOs. You see a top bar and a bottom bar on each of these services. And the top bar is basically our compliance metrics. That's the active probing. So we actively probe the service and check if it's up or not. On the bottom part, we analyze the real traffic coming from the user. And there we have some regulations that they should, responses should be less than 1 second, and it should be a non-500 status code, right? Or actually a 200 status code. And here we can also dive deeper into those services, because we see one service that is quite red here, and we want to understand what that is. And this is then where we can dive deeper, and we can see on the right again the success rate, which is the user traffic. So here you see in this given period, we had 9,500,000 requests that succeeded. We had 79,000 that failed, and we had 96,000 in that period that could have potentially failed according to their error budget, which you see below. For certain URLs, it is so the SLO is defined as 99%. That is the objective that they want to reach, and most of the URLs are above this. And on the left side, you see the compliance metrics, where we are actively probing the service, and you see a slight it's slightly more unavailable recently, but it's still within error budget. So let's one more thing. We are also giving the teams a historic overview of how their system stability is. So we have all of these. We show the buckets per week, and we show how available all services were in this historic overview. And then teams can see, okay, where are some weak points? Where can we improve? And where do we have to put some effort in? And let's go back to the homepage and click on the development metrics. And on the development metrics, we are diving deeper into the topic again. Here you can see the first time the introduction of the change failure rate, as I mentioned before, but also some numbers like average commit size, average merge request size. And here we have some deeper recommendations for our development teams. Let's have a look at the third one. We have average commit size. Here we say you should be committing code whenever you have made a single logical change. This allows you to write concise but descriptive commit messages, which offers great context for others who might be reading through your code. So we're trying to tell the teams what are good practices, what they should adopt. And then we have a read more link, which is linking to an article that explains exactly the topic. And this is like the recommendations we are trying to give. And yeah, this is hopefully scalable, like educating or telling 130 teams to adopt these practices is quite difficult, as you can imagine. And again, here we can dive deeper into the data. We have instrumented all systems from the software delivery lifecycle. And here we have Jira tickets. You get an overview of how many tickets are done in progress, in review, and so on. We have Git statistics about commits and how many authors are committing. And we have instrumented our CI/CD tools, Jenkins here. So you see how many builds ended in a success or in a failure. So you see how often builds have been executed, how long it took for an individual build or the overall build time for this one services across all builds. And yeah, on the bottom, then you see SonarQube metrics. If the team also adopts SonarQube, then you can get some deep insights into the code. And in order to make it part of the daily routines of engineering teams, which adopt Scrum and other agile best practices, so they have a bi-weekly retrospective, and we build this development team metrics dashboard that they can use for their retrospective. To just also not only talk about gut feelings, but have some data to support their cases and what they want to talk about. And on the top, you see the lead time for changes. The green circles are Jira user stories. The yellow circles are incidents. The red ones are bugs, and the blue ones are tasks. And yeah, the further up in the chart the circle is, the longer it took for the story to be completed. And you see the green line, which is basically indicating the overall lead time for changes for this team. And for a while it was going up, but now it's improving again. And yeah, then we have impact scores. So in here you can see how much new code has been created, how many tests have been created, how much code has been refactored. Also gives you an indication on what the team is working on. If the team wants to have more details about specific tasks they're working on, they can have this recorded time chart as well, which unfortunately this team doesn't have, and I didn't have access to a dashboard from another team. And in that case, they would track time on Jira tickets and categorize them, and then they see that they are working on maintenance, new features, support, and so on. And yeah, we have an overview about deployments to production. And then we also have some social statistics that we are measuring and that we try to convince our teams to use. There's a happiness and a safety check. Happiness check is always, and both checks are collected in the beginning before retrospective. Happiness check, each individual gives a score from 0 to 5, and that indicates the happiness within the team. So happy developers write better code and are more motivated, and you have a better team that is better performing. And the safety check is also quite important, as we are also giving each engineer in the team or each team member in the team the chance to rate the feeling of safety, and from 0 to 5. And if this is for one team member below 3, the environment is not safe enough and the retrospective cannot be continued. And then below we have a feedback matrix where we are asking our engineers or our team members to give one-on-one feedback so that they have a good feedback culture, and also then track these feedback sessions in here. And yeah, as I mentioned, this is our initiative for our engineering organization. So here, current status, unfortunately, we only have 17 teams yet that have adopted it, but for the fact that we have just started a year ago, I think is okay. So we have some more teams to go. But out of these 17 teams already, about 12% are in the high performing category. We have 65% that are in medium and 24% that are in the low category. And below you can see the same metrics for same statistics for the specific metrics: deployment frequency, lead time for change, mean time to recover, and mean time to failure. And one important thing to add is here that we are not only doing this to measure our performance, we have also adopted OKRs, and all the teams have high-level objectives, business objectives that they are trying to achieve, and that also end up in company objectives. So we are trying to work in both directions, building great products, but also having good engineering practices in place. And that was it. I hope it did not take too long.
Hey, Andre, thank you very much. No, you're only 1 minute late. Unfortunately, I have to run to the other room, but there are two questions. One is if your Grafana dashboards are open sourced, and then is the Grafana dashboards that you were showing, are they open source? And if not, could you publish them?
We want to publish them. Please get in touch. So we are planning to publish them. We did not do it yet.
Yeah, cool. So unfortunately, I don't have time for the other question, but there is a question in the chat. So if you could go to Brella and then join your own chat, then you'll be able to see the question and could answer it. That would be amazing.
Yeah.
Cool.
Thanks for listening.
All right. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
See you in the keynote track. Bye.
Yeah. Bye.